let's get a replay of that one then. There's what originally happened. Drago just about hitting the back of Kilkoriki in turn 7. And look at this, Kilkoriki almost trying to brake check him, I think. But here's what happened a few corners later, just missing him, but that was clearly an attempt at payback, and that's not acceptable in the F1 league, is it?
Yeah, not really. Something the stewards have to find out and decide upon whether to punish both drivers or just Drago. I think both were to blame in that situation.
Yeah, I mean, what about punishing? I mean, Drago gave the position back as you should. Sure, his DP team definitely has been involved in some controversies. Dell getting banned, of course, and Rearom also on the DP team. There's a replay of Pingu going into the rock and Shy Guy going around him. But surely that payback was not really necessary. This isn't SCART. This is an F1 fair play racing league, and payback is not really part of the agenda. Meanwhile, there's Wokinshire going very wide, losing 3 positions, and now Shimek trying to challenge Mr. Pom. Both running wide, both hitting the snow, but Shimek gets the position.
So back to the action with Eddie leading.
And he's going to pits.
Yes. His first pit stop of the day.
This one's a crucial one for sure. Let's see how long it is, how much fuel he gets in the car. At 4.7 seconds at the Leica. So that looks like this would probably be a 3 or 2 stopper for Eddie. This track isn't really leaning itself to 1 or 4 stops.
Yes, and as he rejoins in 5th position and have enough gap to come out in front again.
But he's got quite a bit of clean air ahead of him, which is what he needs really to control the pace and just keep the sort of net lead of a race. Eddie, of course, is doing all he can to win the championship because he's the 3rd man. We've seen it before. Often in racing leagues, the man in 3rd is the one that's overlooked, and then he goes and wins it. Great example, Sebastian Vettel.
Yes, but here is Dede then, also in the pit stop, along with Silsi and Pablinho coming in from 7th.
Yeah, a very busy pit lane here.
And Dede coming out in 5th.
Silsa in 6th. Very busy pit lane at the moment. Pablinho also exiting the pits. And he's just in front of Lex, 11th place.
11th place, and let's hope he will have a more easy, second stint.
Yeah, he needs much more pace in the second stint. Meanwhile, here's our leader, Eddie. Lawrence hasn't pitted yet. Perhaps Lawrence is had a bit more fuel. Perhaps Lawrence is going for a 2-stopper as opposed to Eddie's probable 3-stopper unless he goes for a long 3rd stint. But it's Etmil in the pits meanwhile as these two battle. Eddie right on the gearbox of Lawrence, going to the inside into turn 5, touching on the entry. Eddie makes the move stick, and that's crucial for the clean air he needs.
Yeah, not this time. Yeah.
He's also going to build a gap to Dede, who is just a few seconds back. So Lawrence is now in 2nd place, our winner, of course, from last race. So here's what the championship looks like now. Eddie has got the gap down to 6 points, with Dede in 3rd. But now Lawrence is going to pit. Pablinho, though, is 16 points back, so a long way back for Pablinho. Got a lot of work to do in this final race. Yes, that pretty much confirms our suspicions about Lance's strategy then. A very long pit stop, 5.9 seconds. And he's almost certainly 2-stopping, or even 1-stopping. Probably not. He's got quite a way to go. 5.9 seconds is enough fuel to 1-stop. Meanwhile, has Matic exiting the pits. And here's a replay then of Eddie's overtake on Lance. Getting to the inside. Contact. Contact again. And just a good solid pass back to the lead for Eddie.
And squeezing Lance to the very edge. That was perfect.
And now we're hearing of some problems for Jono. We're about to see a replay now. He's just passing Kilkoriki. And lags. And yeah, whew, that was unlucky.
Oh dear.
That was very unlucky. Look away, like perfectly in between those two rocks and into a bush. So internet troubles for Jono. Otherwise, a vastly improving racer. He's really speeding up his Jono in terms of raw speed. As Etmil exiting the pits in 5th position, just behind Silsis. So Etmil is got some great speed at the moment. He's just behind Silsis, perhaps contending for a podium today. Here's Pingu and Popovic also fighting.
Yeah, podium would be a best ever result for Edmil, so...
Yeah, he's never been on the podium. He's been on the front row in fact, the first ever race. And look at Pingu and Popovic, both running wide there. See a slow motion replay of that. Almost like there was some oil on the track or something. Both of them pushing just a bit too hard. Here's Shy Guy running in the 8th position. Oh, he's having lags. Losing 3 positions there.
Major lags there.
And now there goes his fun teammate past him too. Oh, Pablinho making more mistakes. Perhaps it's the pressure of running for the championship, but Pablinho is just making mistake after mistake. Perhaps it all got too much for him in this final race. Meanwhile, the man who it never gets too much for, cool, calm and collected, is Dede running in the 2nd place. At the moment, that gives him a 9-point lead in the championship. 9-point buffer in case he had any problems that we saw in the first 2 races. We saw him having disconnection problems. None really since, apart from a small problem a large problem in the Australian Grand Prix, which he actually came back from and finished 2nd. But Dede has broken an incredible championship run this year after those 2 awful first races, scoring low points hauls of about 31 points or so. And since then, he's just been the comeback king. He scored the win in the Austrian Grand Prix in those rainy conditions, won it in the Danish Grand Prix, won in the Argentinian Grand Prix. Meanwhile, here's a battle between Silse and Etmil. 14 laps are completed. We're on lap 15. This is really the battle for a final podium position, unless Lawrence can challenge on his 2-stop strategy. Oh, Silse running wide, and Etmil's going to try up the inside, a bit of contact, but Silse has lost that position.
Can he maintain his position? No! Ooh. Oh no! He's running wide.
Etmil.
Dear.
That's the commentator's curse there, and Silse gains back the 3rd position.
Yeah, it might have been Edmund's only chance for the podium finish there.
Yeah.
Losing out.
Well, we'll see. There's still plenty of time. We're nowhere near halfway yet in this race. Still got about 3 or 4 more laps before that marker passes. So anything can still happen. Pablinho making another mistake. Perhaps doesn't like this circuit, or is it really the nerves? Because he's in 6th position, which for most would be a great result, but for Pablinho after 2 wins this year, it's just not good. Not good at all. Of course, a win from Eddie here would mean that Eddie and Dede actually tied with the most wins, and in fact, a win from Eddie would mean that overall, if we didn't count the drop system, Eddie would be our champion. But if we do count the drop system, it's to make it fairer for those who miss races or have disconnection problems. It's a good system, and at the moment, Dede is running towards the championship in his 2nd position. That's all he needs. Doesn't need to push too hard, just needs to maintain a top 3 or 4 position. As long as Pablinho continues to run poorly, and Eddie cannot make up any more spots from the 1st position, obviously. Meanwhile, here's a Shy Guy battling with Wockinger. Shy Guy defending to the inside, Wockinger looking to the inside, but not quite getting alongside him on the main straight. They're going side by side again into turn 3. And Shy Guy really trying to defend. Wockinger looking to the inside into the chicane, and Wockinger gets that position with a dive up the inside to turn 5 and 6. Good pass from him.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, back on board with Pablinho, following him a lot, see if he can pick up his pace, pick up his speed. And another mistake. The track just doesn't seem to be working for him. It's just all going wrong for Pablinho. Looks so good.
You can't find a good enough rhythm to drive these laps.
Yeah, it all looks so good after a win in the US Grand Prix and a second place to his teammate Lance in the Qatar night race, but it's all gone downhill in Sweden. And now meanwhile, Eddie is in from the lead for his second pit stop. Jono also in the pits a lap down. Let's see how fast this one is. It's got to be good. Dede now leads the race. Will Eddie be held up by Jono here on the exit? No, Jono very cleverly lets him by in. Eddie is out in front of Evans, so that's crucial for the clean air and a clean out lap. Dede probably can't really challenge him for the lead at the moment, but he can cut off those precious seconds if Eddie has problems on his out lap on the new tyres. Look at that. If the race ended now by some terrible server problems or something, Dede would be the champion by 18 points, and in fact, Pablinho could almost catch Eddie. But of course, Eddie has made that pit stop.
Yeah, that would be true.
Here's Silsier then put into the pits in the second position. That will probably give the second position back to Eddie. A few lag problems with our stream, sorry about that. So let's see where Silsier comes out of the pits. This is a very important pit stop for him. Lawrence and Pablinho just about come out in front, but of course they both need to make another stop. Lawrence only has to make one more, the same as Silsier on a free stop actually, so if Lawrence can keep defending against Silsier, then Lawrence can, that's really the battle preferred. If Lawrence can defend against Silsier, then Lawrence will get the final spot on the podium. Unless Etmil has anything to do about it. Etmil obviously has yet to make his pit stop. Here we are then on board with Pablinho, who's battling. This is 3 fun teammates here, they've all got to be careful, don't want to crash each other. Lawrence, the team leader, although Pablinho I suppose now has assumed that role, though he's probably quitting fun next year. Silsier there, a newbie to the team, and Pablinho the championship contender. Pablinho up to 4th now. Could this be the comeback he needs? Obviously, he could perhaps go for a longer pit stop and try and make it to the end on fuel. That's always a possibility, but he's now up to 4th. And meanwhile, here's Lawrence and Silsier fighting. This is for the final podium spot, really.
Yes.
Contact between them, a hard battle.
A good feisty battle between all 3 drivers here.
Meanwhile, here's a replay of Pingu exiting the pits just behind Shy Guy. Let's see if anything happens here. Cut on to later in the lap and perhaps an overtake here. Trying to look up the inside into turn 17. Getting a good run off turn 1. Shy Guy defends to the inside. Pingu on the outside. Brakes early. Great pass from Pingu. Intelligent racing again from him. We've seen that in the wet conditions he does that. He brakes early and makes the undercut pass. Meanwhile, Silsier is right on the back of Lawrence for what is really 4th position, but will eventually become 3rd position once Pablinho pits. So Silsier is right on Lawrence's gearbox, put it to the inside in turn 1, and makes that pass stick. Good pass from Silsier, just forces his way up the inside there.
Yeah, great job.
Nobody has seemed to be able to match the overtaking talent of Dede this year, but we have seen some great passes from other guys. Oh, and Silsier makes a mistake and Lawrence is back past. Silsier has seemed to be one of those guys that has made some good passes all year, but here is our leader Dede. See his fuel flashing up as 0%. And now pitting from the lead. Let's see if these two can get out anywhere near him as they're battling. That's probably cost them a lot of time. Pablinho meanwhile also in the pit, and Silsier just has much fresher tyres. And will they get past Dede? Dede's out in front for now, but Silsier dives up the inside into turn 3 and Silsier has passed Dede. That's the 2nd position. Silsier just took the initiative when Dede was exiting the pits and took the position, and now Silsier runs what is really 2nd in this race, yep. And they're both running wide now, and now Lawrence has a run at Dede. Down the long straight, into this double apex corner. But that put Silsier up to 2nd place, so also brings Eddie within 6 points of the championship. If Dede was to have a problem now and fall back to 7th place, then Eddie would be the champion.